What would you do if you lived out in the middle of nowhere, and at night, tall, shadowy figures moved closer and closer to your house, but only while you weren't looking? Hello, I'm Cece with the Crucible of Character, and welcome back for another scary Reddit story. Once again, thank you all so much for the recent support I've gotten on my videos with the new subscribers and the load of likes and comments. I really do appreciate it. I am trying to get to 100 subscribers by the end of the year, so if you liked today's video, make sure to like, write me your comments down below, and consider subscribing. Now without further ado, today's story is entitled, I Live on a Dead Road, and it was posted to the r/no sleep subreddit by Dead End Account, and it starts like this. I live on a road no one uses. Even during the day, it feels abandoned. Cracked asphalt, faded lane lines, a single streetlight that flickers more often than it works. At night, it feels dead. The first time I saw it, I thought it was a broken lamp casting weird shadows, but then it lifted its head. There was something standing directly beneath the streetlight, far down the road, perfectly still. Just far enough that I couldn't make out any details, only the outline. Tall, thin, and wrong. It didn't move the first night, or the second. It just stood there, watching my house. The third night, it shifted, just slightly. Its head tilted, not towards me, towards the road, like it heard something that I couldn't. The fourth night, it was closer. I could tell just by the way its outline filled the light. It didn't walk. It didn't transition between positions. It just existed closer. My dog noticed before I told myself it was real. He started whining at the door at night, growling softly when the light flickered on. When I checked the street, it was always there, still, and waiting. The fifth night, it lifted one arm, slowly and carefully, like it was moving underwater. It held its hand in the air for a long time, then let it fall. The sixth night, it did it again, but faster. The seventh night, it lifted both arms and tried to balance. I realized then it wasn't waving. It was practicing. The eighth night, it smiled. I couldn't see its mouth clearly, but the shape of its face definitely changed, stretched, unnatural looking. The ninth night, it stepped forward. Not a human step, a dragged imitation of one. Like it had watched how legs work, but didn't know why. Its knees bent wrong. It just wasn't right. Its posture sagged, like it didn't belong in gravity. Still, it was closer. The 10th night, it was halfway down the road. The streetlight buzzed violently above it, flickering like it wanted to warn me. That night I heard it breathe, faint, wet, and too close to the glass. I didn't even sleep. On the 11th night, it walked up to my driveway, didn't touch the mailbox, didn't touch the fence, just stood there, perfectly still, listening, learning. Then, in a voice so quiet I thought I had imagined it, "Hello?" It was my voice. Not perfect, but close enough to make my stomach turn. The 12th night, it was on the sidewalk, staring at the door. I didn't turn on the light. I didn't move. I just sat on the floor and held my breath. It stayed there for hours, practicing, breathing, whispering. On the 13th night, I didn't check the window. I didn't look, because when I woke up that morning, there were footprints on my porch. They were bare, too long, too narrow, and facing the door. I still live here today. I still live here. I don't plan on leaving, but I know it wants me to leave. It wants the house. It wants something to do with this property and this space. It wants to know what it feels like to live in skin. And one night, I know it's going to get the door open. Not by breaking it, not by forcing it in, but by becoming good enough at being me that I'll let it in. The end. Well, that was an interesting kind of little twist there at the end. It almost reminds me of that movie Annihilation, with the scene when there's kind of like the metallic goo monster that is perfectly mirroring the main protagonist, and slowly, as it's mirroring her, it kind of takes on more and more of the details of her until they're completely indistinguishable. And then in the end, it is somewhat left up to your interpretation as to whether or not who we saw come out was actually her, or whether she was the one that died and the replicant was the one that replaced her. That's a super interesting way of thinking about it. I know that, psychologically speaking, when you mirror someone for long enough, you can then intentionally change how they behave. Like, if you see someone do something with their body, like they cross their arms or their legs or whatever else, and you just keep following what they do and following their lead, and then one of the times before they shift, you shift the way you're sitting first, because you've been copying them, they will unconsciously start to copy you. And the same goes for kind of leading conversations. So it's interesting to me in a way to think that that might be possible for a skinwalker, that it mirrors you for so long that you kind of lose your grip on even wanting to be a separate entity, and you just let it in. It's definitely a super cool way of looking at it, and a different kind of spin on the skinwalker stories than we're used to. Again, talking about things that you could do differently in this situation, I think that, just similar to the past few stories, don't hang out if you know something's like this. You could leave the house, and it wouldn't be able to learn anything more from you. You could go get a gun and try and scare it off. You could build a really big fence so that it couldn't get up to your door. Whatever. But just do something. Do anything. Any kind of skinwalkers or wendigos, I'm not entirely sure on their weaknesses. But I do know that if you were to get in a car and drive full speed away in the middle of the daytime when it's not there, you would probably be fine from this thing. With that being said, what do you think the lesson from today's story would be? Now, the point of this channel is to try and teach you all how to look for the point of stories, to try and look for the lesson. It's to try and teach you to be proactive about looking for it, so that entertainment isn't just solely entertainment, but it's bettering you. So please, if you have thought of something, let me know down below before I tell you what I think. And with that, kind of wrapping up, the lesson that I pulled from today's story is, be your own person. Don't be a sheep. What I mean by that is, again, kind of going back to this mirroring that other things can do. There's a lot of pressure in our world today to act a certain way, or to do certain things, or to be a certain thing, based solely upon the fact that a large group or the mass is doing it. But we need to stop and ask ourselves, is that really what we want? Is that actually heading in a good direction? Or not? I think if we're all able to take a minute to reflect, to think about, well, are we being a sheep? Or are we able to make our own path? I think we have a lot to learn about that. I think we have a lot of pressure on us that we don't even realize is there, that if we just took a moment to think about, we could escape. With all that being said, let me know your thoughts down below. Did we get the same lesson? What would you have done in this situation? What do you think I could do to improve my videos? Again, thank you all for your support. I love you all. I appreciate you all. Make sure to subscribe for more daily content. And with that, I'm Cece, and I'll see you tomorrow.